When I first started taking piano lessons, my teacher told me that I shouldn't treat pieces as things I must learn to prove my worth as a pianist, but rather I should use pieces to become a better pianist. At the time, I didn't really understand what he was trying to say because I was really obsessed about learning as many pieces as possible. But thinking back on it, I believe those words contained the truth about the real purpose and also the dangers of wanting to achieve your goals. Hey there, I'm Paolo. I make videos about building confidence, becoming productive, and achieving your goals. And goals are precisely what we're talking about today. Specifically, the fact that if you always struggle to achieve your goals, it might be because you're missing the point. Here's how most of us are taught about goals. You want a result, you get the result, you're good. That's the mindset that society usually reinforces. For example, many teachers prioritize students who get good grades and often ignore students who don't get good grades, even if they are really hardworking and are trying to improve. Parents often judge their kids by their school performance and then by their salaries and titles. And social media tends to celebrate success stories, but not the years of painful and also boring hard work that made those stories possible. Basically, we are rewarded for results, but not for the process. So, of course, most of us grow up thinking that goals and results are these destinations we must reach to prove our worth. But remember what I said about my piano teacher at the beginning? He said that a good pianist doesn't just learn to play a piece, he uses the piece to become a better pianist. Basically, the point isn't just to learn to play a piece, because if you want, you can do that just by repeating it until you memorize it, and you can say you have learned a new piece. The point is to use the process and the many mistakes you make during it to improve yourself and your skills that will allow you to learn not just that one piece, but many others as well. And I think that's how goals work, or at least should work. The point of setting a goal isn't just to achieve it, but to become the kind of person who can achieve it. So real success isn't found in reaching the finish line, but in the habits you develop, the skills you build, and the mindset you learn during the journey. Yeah, I know this sounds like the real treasure were the friends we made along the way. But it's true. I mean, let's consider, for example, lottery winners. Statistically, the majority end up back where they started within just a few years. Sometimes even worse off. Why? Because they got the destination without going through the journey first. They got the money, but without first becoming the kind of person who has the knowledge, the skills, and also the mental strength to use all that money wisely. And here's what's ironic about all this goal setting stuff. The less obsessed you are with the results, the more likely you are to get them. Because when your focus, instead of being on just the end result, the outcome, is on the process of learning, trying, and improving yourself little by little, you can keep showing up and stay consistent. Not necessarily because you're super disciplined, but because you're not tying the value and also the enjoyment of the things you're pursuing on things outside of your control. For example, my goal on YouTube is to get at least 500,000 subscribers. Ambitious, but not impossible. However, if I had approached the whole thing from a goal-first mentality, I don't know if I would have even gotten started. I would have probably always felt so far from the goal that I would have just lost motivation. I wouldn't have been able to accept that I have to go through this long journey of making bad videos and improving little by little by little. Just to be clear, goals are useful, but mainly for giving you direction. So instead of seeing them as finish lines, treat them as compasses. They point you toward somewhere worth going, and during the journey, you learn to become the person capable of getting to that destination. But getting there is not the whole point. It's just a very good excuse to get started in the first place. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!